It's time to play some stuff.
Ninja Priest, what's up everybody? Welcome to what's bound to be the Play Some Stuff episode for World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria that makes me look like a complete and utter moron. Oh, I'm gonna cancel my subscription, I'm just not feeling it, man. Then the very next day, patch 5.2, hey, 5.2's coming out finally, and folks are like, oh, new patch, and I'm like, okay, let's just see if it's worth sticking around. Okay, you've avoided elimination for now, but I'm very much one of the things about WoW nowadays is it's a game I play and not the game that I play, as evidenced by me messing around with other games like Flower and some of the console games that I have. I just don't find Mists of Pandaria to be on the same level as something like Wrath of the Lich King in terms of how engaging the content is. Or maybe it's because I was a fan of Warcraft 3 and all the Warcraft 3 references in Wrath were interesting in and of itself. So what are we doing with Madame Lockhart here? Well, we're going to check the new Mistweaver changes. I mentioned earlier, we're going to go down to where the target dummies are. I've already collected some data of ungrouped players. They're around, the best DPSers at level 90 are around 40k DPS, so we'll turn that off so I don't get spammed with that while I'm trying to do this stuff. Now, last time we mentioned that Blizzard had some tweaks to make to Mistweaver Monks to make it so that, basically what was going on was, it wasn't worth it to quest in your intellect gear. That has been fixed. Excellent move, Blizzard. Now, finally, the targeted quest rewards can actually be taken by people leveling as healers, at least as monks. The other healers need some work in terms of the token damage that they have the option of doing, if it either alongside some token healing, target healing, yeah, all right. Either alongside some token healing, or in addition, or instead of token healing. But let's take a look. As I'm still coughing from that bug that I had earlier, and so, muscle memory. When you successfully jab or damage at least 3 enemies with Spinning Crane Kick, you gain muscle memory, causing your next Tiger Palm or Blackout Kick to deal 150% increased damage and restore 4% mana. Now, that mana that you get back is because jab has been jacked through the roof because of all the people that were doing jab, uplift is their rotation. The point of a healer monk is to actually fight, not use the melee to set up for a healing rotation. Kind of like what melee holy paladins currently do, who use things like Seal of Insight for some crappy mana regen. So let me just show without. Look up here in the corner, of course. Let me show you what I'm talking about with how muscle memory is now fixed. We are in intellect stance. We are in serpent stance. So let's jab. Bam! We get the buff. Let's cancel everything and go to tiger stance. Now, the big problem here was that even in agility gear, it was still more worth it or even in your agility stance, you did more DPS. So it was still more worth it to run around doing your damage and soloing in your agility gear instead of collecting your intellect gear, which you should be doing as a healer. Watch this. Jab. No buff. Nothing up here. So they have tied muscle memory specifically to serpent stance. So let's pick an 85 dummy to beat up, and let's let that one round of chi disappear, and hope some of these other folks DPSing their hearts out don't decide to be a show-off on whatever dummy I decide to beat up. All right, damage meters. Damage meters, we will first begin with intellect gear. 6k stamina, 5k intellect, 3k spirit. Barely any buffs, and if we turn off the bell buff, we can see that strength and agility are completely unbuffed. Average item level. Where is the item level on here these days? 388. No, 388 is equipped. Alright, in 3, 2, 1. New rotation is a very Rocky Balboa style jab. I say Rocky style because my character on the PTR who I tested this with was modeled kind of after Rocky Balboa. It does look like, if you have the jab glyph, it looks like you're doing left, right, you're just punching the thing, but I'm not using it here. So, alright, so single target. What do we have for damage here? We're going to do jab and Tiger Palm. 1. 9k, 10k, 13k, 12k, 15k, 15k. There's the buff for the free emergency heal, which you can throw on somebody and start the cycle again. 16k, 15k, 14k, 15k, 14k. Seeing a pattern emerging here. And this is without getting Chi Wave involved, which is now almost an attack. Deals 702 nature damage, 793 healing at level 86. Bounce up the second times, and still does this. I still consider it my favorite because of its fire and forget nature, although Zen Sphere and the healing Hadouken, as I like to call it, Chi Burst, have been buffed. So they're very viable alternatives depending on your play style, which is the intent of these kinds of talents. Alright, with some of these big crits we're getting on Tiger Palm, we are now approaching the 20k mark. So that is more than enough damage to quest with in Intellect Gear, and obviously with only a third mana left, here comes the Warlock to be a show-off, as I figured that Bozo would do. Let's get away from this crap. 20k, so that's 20k DPS. Alright, I suppose it doesn't matter, but let's drink the tea and switch over to Agility Gear. Oh, there's the monk who's DPS with the healing Hadouken. You know what? Rather than try to shout over all these people who just beat up on dummies to get their kicks off of their numbers, let's go to Ironforge and find an 85 dummy there, or even Darnassus or something like that, to test. Actually, Darnassus might be a better choice. Let's go find a level 85 dummy in one of the other major Alliance cities to test the agility stuff with. You know what? Cancel that. There are actually no 85 dummies in any of the other cities. Holdovers from Cataclysm when everyone was encouraged to hang out in the faction capitals. So we got Agility Gear, item level 390, obviously no buffs to Intellect or Spirit without the Bell buff. Well, now let's see what we can do here. Remembering that we got, what, 15 to 20,000 damage? Let's try that same kind of rotation again with Tiger Palm. Now again, Blackout Kick is now pretty much, well, we could try with Blackout Kick, but let's see if we can come close to it. 5k, 4k, uh-oh, 7k, I might be able to hit 10k. Let's try the old rotation. Okay, doing the old Blackout Kick, energy starving rotation. 9k DPS. Let's cheat and use Touch of Death. Okay, we have 15k by cheating. Alright, and we're going down very fast. Not good. Alright, so barely broke 13k. Let's let the energy go back up and clear the numbers. Let's do Jab, Jab, Blackout Kick, because, of course, the AE buff doesn't work for this. So, ready. Alright, so actually, let's start with one. 1, 2. That was a waste. That was a waste. Tiger Fists, something. 10k. 9k. Now we're energy starved. 10k. I think the numbers speak for themselves. Besides cheating and using Touch of Death, it is quite obvious that you do more damage now as a healer monk in your Intellect Gear than you do in Agility Gear. Thus, from this point forward for the remainder of the game, well, the leveling experience and probably the rest of the game, unless Blizzard reverts some of this stuff, leveling will be done in Intellect Gear, and the targeted quest rewards will make sense, and now healer monks have way more than enough damage to solo effectively, and even in a long drawn-out fight without running out of mana. So, yeah, just gotta figure out a good AE rotation. Spinning Crane Kick, Jab. I think Spinning Crane Kick is probably the intended thing. I tried Jab, Jab, Blackout Kick, and it was a mana sucker because of the, look at this, 9,600 to Jab, so you gotta do that twice to be able to Blackout Kick, versus 8,580 for Spinning Crane Kick, which you gotta do twice, but you're hitting multiple enemies more often for the mana that's spent. So, 15 to 20k for Mistweavers. Hey, cool, they finished reconstructing the towers after a Deathwing torched the place. I didn't notice that. And, looks like it's been reinforced and stuff like that, too. Nice to see Stormwind in one piece again. I'm sure the damage Orgrimmar took on the Horde side is probably fixed, too, I think. Yeah, all the damage, except for the park, is still destroyed, I think. Yeah, the park still needs to be rebuilt or turned into something else, but... Oh, let's go see what it looks like. We've seen this stuff in the patch. So yeah, Mistweavers are fixed. My only question is, why on earth do Mistweavers even have Tiger stance to begin with? Now, putting on agility gear to do DPS doesn't even matter anymore. So, what? Are we supposed to use it when we want a 10% movement speed buff? Ooh, 10%. That's pitiful. It's better to be in Serpent stance as a healer monk than to do anything in Tiger stance now, which I'm sure is the intended design. I'm glad Blizzard has fixed that. Now let's compare those numbers to my rep paladin. Be right back. Okay, this is going to be a long fight, so Seal of Truth instead of the new Justice that's been buffed for short single target fights and PvP as well, and stuff like that. Blessing of Might. Inquisition will go up after the first round of 3 Holy Power. Let's see how long of a ramp up there is to get to around the 20k DPS mark. And Inquisition. Cool. Divine Purpose straight from that. Oh yeah, that's always good. Although I do hate Retribution's dependence on random numbers. Way too much of that. $17K. I imagine we got some cooldowns involved. Huh, maybe Mistweavers are still a little too powerful. Although this guy is level 87. He should be benefiting. Oh, 18K. Still not even close to the 20K mark. Although Lockhart wasn't exactly a 20K. She was kind of like 15 to 20. But still, she's 86. He's 87. But of course, the big difference here is cooldowns! Yeah, bring out the shiny pet. 20k. Wait, we gotta put Inquisition back up. What am I doing? 22k. Wow, this is really sloppy. Of course, I'm trying to watch the numbers and watch the Holy Power bar to know what to do when at the same time, so... And the Inquisition timer, and all 3 of them are in completely different parts of the screen. So that really doesn't help things any, but 25k with cooldowns, just under 20k with cooldowns. And that, as they say, is that. Let's go away in true badass style. Break combat and bust out the motorcycle. And tell the Moonkin to run really fast. Even though I don't really need the motorcycle because I have flying mounts and all that fun stuff. Let's go hang out by the flower shop and call it a video here. And so we have it there. I'd say that I don't feel like listening to the motorcycle idle. And so we have it. I don't think... I'll dance with the thing anyways. Hey! Oh, target. Come on, Fuzzbird. Get in on the fun. So it looks like Mistweaver's in a pretty good spot. Now, what's the drawback to all that token damage they can do nowadays? Well, Eminence was cut in half. So there's more token damage, more reasons to do token damage. Okay, it's enough Saturday Night Fever crap. I hate the human male dance, obviously. I don't know why all these male humans in games like this and Guild Wars have to be like, oh, look at me, Saturday Night Fever, baby. I don't know, was John Travolta that much of an inspiration to the developers of these games? Anywho! So, there we have it. The drawback, of course, is that the Eminence healing has been cut, so there's more reason to do token damage. There's more token damage, period, and but the healing might not be able to keep up with really big waves of damage, so the regular heals are still necessary. But that, as they say, is that. And that is what we've got to work with in terms of healer monks. And it's good that Blizzard has finally fixed that little doodad they had going on, where you healed in your intellect gear, but you did all your questing in your agility gear, and you had to keep switching. You had to keep getting rewards that didn't help you get to max level faster. So that, as they say, is that. I'm glad they fixed that. And... well, let's call it a video here. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by, and game on!